Yeah, but what do you mean your business went bad? What do you mean by that?
Drop in revenue, clients leaving, and employees or contractors leaving at the same time, and me feeling like it's not, you know, like it's not something that I can sustain over time because it's you know, going into pieces way too quickly.
You were doing way too many things, too many types of deals. You were working on a project for me and a project for Timmy on your own business, and you're surprised that your business went downhill because you were doing, and you're traveling at the same time, and you're surprised by that. And you think it's you can't continue like this? Of course you can't continue like this. You just sit in one location and make your business work and the systems work. Your business doubled in size or something like that year. You need to celebrate that, learn what made it go up like that, and then double down on what works. Instead of like, I have a project manager. No, I have a project manager hiring process. And yes, long-term, you need to start focusing to go from 20K per month to 100K per month. You start focusing on the skills. For example, like copywriting, if you want to become like an info marketer or business partner where you get profit share from companies or revenue share, equity share, or like become a god of sales, so you can make $100,000 deals or both. You know, like you need to start focusing on having a world-class skill or public speaking. I'm focused right now on speaking. I'm focused right now on creating 30 to 60-minute videos where I just talk to people, and after 30 to 60 minutes, they message me on Facebook, which is literally happening as I'm talking to you, by the way. People are messaging me on Facebook and saying, this is the best video I've ever seen. I don't know even what you're selling, but sell it to me. That's what I'm looking to do. And I installed a studio in my room. Like I threw out all the furniture. Like there's furniture. Remember all this crap here? Not all the furniture, of course, but remember all the crap here, Mike, when you lived here? I threw it all out. And all the studio equipment is arriving today. This is going to be a giant white screen here. That's the white screen right there on the cabinet. It's going to be in a big frame, and there's going to be a whiteboard, like a big whiteboard. I'm just going to make videos every fucking day. I'm going to make videos, and after I'm finished making videos, I'm going to do Facebook ads. And after I finish doing Facebook ads, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to come back, and if I feel stressed at any point, I just stare at a wall until all my stress goes away. And what I was doing all year this year was not focused, but this is focus. And suddenly everyone notices. Everyone's like, holy shit, what the f-? You can't run a business if you're a little boy. If you have a little boy mindset and you're all over the place and you can't focus on anything and you're on your phone on Tinder and we're not going to be a mastermind of Asia, Tinder, that's not going to be the point of this mastermind. It's a business mastermind for people who want to go to 8 and 9 figures. And you need to sit down and get work done. And every call is going to be a coaching call, and you're going to get results on every call. And every week you're going to make progress. And if your business goes down by 50%, I don't give a like make it go up by 50% again, and then make it go up by 200% again. So like, what do you need for long-term success? Sit down and get some work done for 10 years. Learn some skills at a level that no one else can do, and the whole world will come to you and want to work with you then. Like my friend Mario, he went from coaching a bunch of little boys. He went to coach Amazon vice presidents, Google vice presidents, guys making $400,000 a month from info marketing at the age of 24. That's who he's coaching now, because Mario sat down for a whole year in 2016, and he got certified by Stanford, by some famous researcher in Stanford, on how to do behavioral change psychology. And that's what he's coaching people on. Then he spent a year just learning sales. He spent $100,000 doing Facebook ads to get sales calls with the hardest leads you can imagine, like vice presidents of companies, super hardcore. The way it is, if you don't like it, get a job. So that's my answer. Does anyone else have a different answer to this?
So I have one more question arising from this. So are you able to give me any advice, like what skills should I focus on in particular at this stage in business?
Sure, I mentioned a few on this call. I mean, what do you think you should focus on? You've been in business for a while. What are the skills you want to focus on?
So the ones that I know are always helpful is project management, sales, accounting, recruitment. Those are that I know. Then anything that is for lead generation and copywriting is always helpful.
All of those you need to learn. It's a question, like all of these you need to know, by the way. But it's a question of which one do you want to master? Which one do you want to spend most of your time on, 6 hours a day?
Yeah. So that's one thing. But the second thing I'm trying to figure is still like, you know, the always coming back question, which is, if I sell Facebook ads, should I, you know, learn Facebook ads myself, master it, or it's okay not to master it?
If you want to be a world-class authority on Facebook ads that everyone comes to when they know they need the most help, then you need to know Facebook ads, and you need to know Google ads as well. You need to know media buying. You need to know like data analysis at the highest level. You need to know how to build whole funnels and track it from the beginning to end, and build a giant tracked funnel where you know every single part and how to improve every single part and how all the parts interrelate and what is broken if you see some number change somewhere. You need to know everything. It's like a 5-year mastery thing you need to learn here. Like it's not a question of do you need to know Facebook ads if you want to sell Facebook ads. It's what are you going to be so good at that Obama, if he wants to become the president of Australia or something like that, that he calls you. You know, like someone closed in 2016 for the presidential campaign. Someone closed a $1 billion deal. Like, how do you become that guy? That's what you need to learn. Not like, do I need to know Facebook ads if I want to sell Facebook ads? That's what beginners ask when they join DBH. It's not the important thing here.
I mean, it kind of also, like, you still have to know it a little bit to see if people are doing a good job. So you have to be able to give them feedback and to manage them and to hire them. Yeah. So yeah, it's important for sure.
What other skills do you guys suggest? There's lots of guys here learning lots of skills. Like what do you guys suggest Mike could focus on?
For example, the accounting, you could only learn it to the master level if you want to take over companies, because in this case you have to know the statements, see if the companies are healthy, but otherwise you just need a basic level of understanding of accounting because you will have accountants. So that's my rant about accounting.
Yeah, accounting, you know, well enough so that your company is running. I wouldn't want to, like, I wouldn't recommend you become a master of accounting or anything like that. Like, copywriting is always good. Like, it's a valuable skill. If you want to sell to mass audiences for millions of dollars just by writing a letter, or writing an email, then copywriting. But it's grueling analytical work. Copywriting is grueling, hard analytical work, where every word matters, like every single letter matters, and it's just very hard analytical work. Like the best copywriter that I know, he's on the autistic scale. Okay, so that's the kind of work it is. It doesn't mean you have to be like that, but the very, very best, like the very, very, very best that could just write magical sentences that just convert everyone, like anyone who reads it is just converted by it, and you will want to buy if you read his copy just by how well it's written. That's the most analytical, like he's only partially on planet Earth. That's the level we're talking about here. So if you want to learn that kind of skill, like you could probably get pretty good at it. You could get really, but you're like your whole brain will change the way it works if you learn that skill, and like any skill really, but if you make that decision, you can do that. You can also learn sales at that level of skill. So if you learn sales at that level, you'll be able to walk into a company and you understand how their entire business works because you need to learn all these skills anyway, right? But if your sales skill is the one you're mastering, you can walk into a company and close a deal for equity in that company. You can just analyze their company based on their balance sheets that are sometimes publicly available and whatever. You can analyze, this is what this company needs and this is what this company needs, and like merge them together with someone else's money and become an investor. You can do that kind of stuff if you learn sales at a very high level. But then you need to also learn how to deal with investors and how to deal with banks at a pretty high level as well, right? So just sales by itself like standalone and you know absolutely nothing else, it's not very valuable. But if you're an agency owner, you're constantly talking to businesses and screening businesses and analyzing businesses and thinking like an investor, and then you learn sales at the level of an investor and beyond actually, then you could do what Willie is doing. Like Willie is a master deal maker in DBH, right? A master deal maker. He owns now or co-owns or whatever it is, some very big 8-figure business. I'm not allowed to say how much or which company, but it's a very big 8-figure business. And he learned this, like, here's how he learned it. First, he joined DBH. He already knew cold calling. So he just, after work, every day he came home from work at 7 p.m., did cold calling until whatever, like 160 cold calls, got a sale almost every day. First 3 weeks, he made 6.5K in sales in his spare time after work. Then after half a year, he quit his job. He was already doing like 20, 30K per month or something like that. He had a whole team of people, like a boiler room of cold callers. Like you need a team of people. If you want to get really good at sales, you need a team of people that you're constantly coaching and stuff like that. Like that's one of the levels above just doing sales yourself. Then he asked me, Alex, what should I do next at some point? Like even before he quit his job actually. And I told him, okay, now start networking every week. Get in touch with at least one person who's making 8 figures or above. And he just started sending out emails. And then he was starting to get in touch with guys like Eben Pagan, who's the person who got me in business first. He has like some programs. He's quite old now. He doesn't really give a fuck anymore. But back in the day, he was really cool. So he got in touch with guys like that. And he got a mentor, like some very old guy who just told him, okay, now go to banks and get a loan. And Willie went to banks and got a loan and then put the money into shops locally, like a kebab shop or something like that, for a small equity share of the kebab shop. And then he just practiced getting equity deals like that. And then he got his first $150,000 deal by cold calling. Every day he would cold call Mercedes. Every fucking day he would cold call Mercedes in Germany until he eventually spoke to someone who has some kind of decision power. So he befriended everyone there and eventually spoke to some project, whatever person. Then he got invited somewhere and got a deal for $150,000, right? So that's another level of sales. Then another level of sales above that was selling his company. So when his company was doing $1 million or euros per year, selling that company meant he had to sell it to investors. And investors, first their secretary, like some girl calls you and asks you some questions about your company. She just says, well, your company is shit. Like, why the would we want to buy that? What is this balance sheet? There's nothing good on this balance sheet. Then the next person calls. It's like his cleaning lady. I mean, it's not a cleaning lady, but like his assistant or something like that calls. Oh, also, what is this balance sheet? This is horrible. We have literally, my dog has a better company than this. And eventually, after like 4 or 5 people talk shit to him, eventually the actual investor, like he's worth like $4 billion, calls him and he offers him a ridiculously low deal, right? Nothing basically. And then he has to be a consultant for no money for another half year to make sure the company is working. So he gets no money almost, and he has to work almost for free for half a year. And then Willie got that up to 1 year revenue. So negotiated to 1 year revenue and closed the deal. He got 1 year revenue, still had to consult a little bit, but sold the company for 1.4 and took that money and invested in other companies and leveraged it with banks as well. Right, that's another level of sales. But here's the interesting part. He got scammed. Like the company was worth 4 times more than he got paid for it, right? So like all of these things are lessons. And that mistake with the 1.4 million, how much is 1.4 million times 3? That's how much his mistake was worth, right? That's a mistake. Losing 10K of revenue is nothing. You're not making any, like, you're like scraping together a few euros and you're like, I have a few euros, but I lost one of the euros. Oh, that's what it looks like to guys like that. Do you understand? Did I cover Emmanuel? I mean, Emmanuel, who sat down for 735 days and spent 6 hours a day just writing copy by hand, like rewriting the best things ever written, right? Like that's what Emmanuel did. Like these are all real examples. All of these are real examples. Okay, so does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think with Facebook ads, you kind of have to know like you have to know what type of creative to use. You have to know what type of copy to write, how the website needs to look, and obviously how to set up the ads. So that's specifically for the service, right? And I think just personally, because it's a like it's a retainer type of business and stuff like that, and like it's super trackable. I don't think you can really scale this without really getting people results, just because like it's so super trackable, right? This is why it's so tricky. So I don't know, it's quite tricky, but I think like the delivery stuff is just super important to be on top of personally, and to just sort of have a system or something that just kind of always works, where at least if it doesn't work, you know that it's the client's business model for a fact, and it's not this weird like, oh, like we don't know why this didn't work out and stuff like that. I think that's pretty important.
So he's constantly getting on calls, and he needs to have deep domain knowledge to be able to close these sales, because he's not talking to some idiot who's like, I want website. He's talking to people who are like, I want a website built on Drupal, and I want this kind of like whatever, right? So does anyone have this figured out? Like, how do you train salespeople to sell to deep domain knowledge buyers? Okay, I mean, I can answer this. It's basically, there's two approaches. The first approach is to have a productized service or a product that you're selling that allows standardization of the sales process. So for example, the DBH sales process or inbound leads from my YouTube channel, it's very simple, and the leads are very easy to convince to pay whatever you want, really. Like, because they've already been programmed to believe and behave in the way we need them to believe and behave to become clients. So it's the natural evolution after that is that they buy, right? And you can speed up this process with better marketing. You can speed up this process with better processes during the call booking phase, where, for example, they get some emails, indoctrination emails, and emails explaining how to prepare for the call, and a video explaining how to prepare for the call, even a pitch video where like they get a whole pitch of the program. So you don't even need to pitch them necessarily on the call. The person already knows the program before he even gets on a call with you. And someone who gets on a call with you after they know exactly what they're going to get, they already basically agreed to buy, if you think about it. Like, why would someone get on a call with you if they know exactly what they're going to get unless they want to buy, right? Doesn't that make perfect sense? No. So in summary, it's making the product, maybe making service productized or selling a product to the point where the salesperson is basically doing the same thing every call because everything else has been taken care of by the marketing. Method number one. Then method number two, to answer the actual question, how do you train the salesperson to sell to the industry with high domain knowledge, assuming that you have a custom project? The person will need to do 2 sales calls most likely if he's not technical. So either you train, there's actually 2 answers to this. Either you train a developer or a project manager who already has the knowledge, because you're not going to train them all the industry knowledge. Okay, that's going to take forever, like 6 to 8 months. Don't do that. It's a waste of time. The guy's got to leave after 6 to 8 months after receiving all the training. So I guess the alternative is to hire someone who already has the domain knowledge, because they did account management, or they did project management, or they did development work even. Like some of these guys, introverts can do sales, no problem. Some of the best sales guys in DBH were introverts. So you can have the pre-installed domain knowledge. And then method number 2 in this, let me try and remember, what was it again? Oh yeah. It's to do this 2 calls. So the first call is just a discovery call where he screens the client, doesn't answer questions he doesn't know the answer to because he's not a technical person, doesn't have the deep domain knowledge, but he's basically screening the client. And then the second call, you come because you know that this lead is ready to buy. So the call is shorter and it's more to the point, and maybe you answer some technical questions. that you have to answer in these types of calls. So, because we're talking about development work, right? That's why the deep domain knowledge is necessary. So that's another method, very common method actually, like companies like Cisco use it and stuff like that, so that you don't need to have the very advanced, highly trained people or the vice president or whatever waste time on beginner calls. They can just get on call with the most qualified leads, pre-screen, pre-everything.